It was December 26, 1900. A supply ship named the Hesperus approached the remote Flannan Isles, a cluster of desolate rocks battered by the wind and waves off the western coast of Scotland. The seas were rough, as expected, but the crew knew the routine. They were delivering fresh provisions to the 3 lighthouse keepers stationed there, and expecting to be greeted on arrival. But something was wrong. There was no flag flying. No figures waiting on the dock. As they got closer, unease spread. The jetty was empty, eerily silent. And when they reached the lighthouse, the front gate was shut tight. The entrance door was locked. No one answered their calls. Inside, they found stopped clocks. Beds left unmade. Coats still hanging. A meal, partially eaten, was still on the table, as if the men had vanished mid-bite. The lighthouse was in perfect order. But utterly abandoned. What could have possibly happened on such a remote and regulated island?
This is our weird world, where the strangest stories become reality. If you love these kinds of tales, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and hit the bell. This way you'll be notified whenever new content comes out, and you'll help this channel grow. Now back to the story.
The 3 missing men were Thomas Marshall, James Duckett, and Donald MacArthur. All seasoned keepers, accustomed to the brutal isolation of lighthouse life. Each had passed rigorous mental and physical evaluations. They were professionals. According to lighthouse protocol, one man always stayed inside while the other 2 worked outdoors. So how could all 3 disappear? The last logbook entries were unsettling. On December 12, one entry spoke of severe winds, the worst in over 20 years. Another mentioned that the men were praying. Something unheard of for such hardened workers. MacArthur, in particular, was known for his short temper and toughness, not for fear. Yet, strangely, official weather records showed that the skies had been calm around those dates. No storms. No gales. So what exactly were the keepers experiencing on that island? And why did they describe something that, officially, never happened? The most widely accepted theory is deceptively simple, that a sudden rogue wave swept them out to sea. Investigators propose that one keeper may have broken the rules and left the lighthouse during bad weather. Perhaps a piece of equipment near the cliff, like the supply crane, was damaged. The others rushed to help, and all 3 were pulled into the ocean by a massive wave. But this theory leaves troubling gaps. Why was one of the men's coats still hanging inside? Why were both doors locked from the inside? Why were there no visible signs of struggle, no broken railings, no debris, no footprints leading away from the building? And most haunting of all, why were their bodies never recovered? Even in rough seas, debris or remains often resurface. Yet the ocean kept its secrets. Can the elements really erase all trace of 3 men so completely? Or is that just the story authorities found easiest to accept? In the decades since, the mystery has only deepened. Folklore, conspiracy, and speculation have taken root. Some locals whispered about pirates or smugglers. The Flannan Isles had long been a waypoint for illicit trade. Could the men have stumbled upon something they weren't meant to see? Others believe the answer lies in the supernatural. The Isles were feared by fishermen for centuries. Some believed the islands were cursed, inhabited by spirits or ancient beings from the sea. Tales spoke of will-o'-the-wisps that lured sailors to their doom. Or voices heard in the fog, calling men by name. A few more imaginative theories suggest abduction, not by humans, but by entities. Aliens. Sea monsters. Even interdimensional rifts. One lighthouse keeper before them had reportedly gone mad after only a few weeks, insisting that the rocks beneath the tower whispered at night. It sounds like fantasy. But in the complete absence of evidence, how do we prove anything? What if the explanation is something we've never even considered? There's another angle, more earthly, yet no less disturbing. Some researchers point to inconsistencies in the timeline. The light had gone dark days before the Hesperus arrived, but the alarm wasn't raised immediately. Why the delay? Even more strangely, the emotional tone of the final logbook entries is at odds with the keeper's profiles. Phrases like, "God is over all," and "the sea is roaring," hint at rising panic or even hallucination. Were the men under psychological stress? Were they exposed to something unknown? A handful of theorists go further, suggesting a cover-up. At the turn of the century, experiments with low-frequency sound waves, known as infrasound, were quietly being explored. These frequencies, often generated naturally by wind or waves through rock formations, are known to cause nausea, anxiety, and hallucinations. Could this explain the fear, the prayers, and the apparent madness? Was the lighthouse built in a spot that amplified these effects? Or was something else deliberately tested there? And if so, could someone have erased the evidence? Today, the lighthouse on the Flannan Isles is automated. No more keepers. No more isolation. Just a blinking light, watched only by birds and waves. But the story still haunts people. Visitors report feelings of dread when stepping onto the island. Some claim to hear distant voices in the wind. Others speak of sudden vertigo, confusion, or the overwhelming urge to leave. The mystery has inspired books, poems, even songs. The band Genesis once wrote, "Flannan Isle, your story's not done. A mystery beneath the setting sun." Even a movie was made, directed by Christopher Nyholm, called The Vanishing. Over 120 years later, we are no closer to the truth. 3 men. A locked door. A vanished presence. No struggle, signs, or answers. Only silence. And the sea. So now we ask you, what do you believe happened on that island? Was it a tragic accident? A supernatural force? Or something no one dares to speak of? If you enjoyed this chilling mystery and want more true stories that leave you questioning reality, don't forget to hit subscribe and tap the notification bell. We post new weird and true content every week, and you won't want to miss what's next. And let us know in the comments, do you have your own theory about the Flannan Isles? What's your explanation for the perfect disappearance? This is our weird world. And we'll see you in the next mystery.